Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to convert Quake 3 maps into other formats. For me, that's going to be OBJ. So you're going to need Blender for this, and you're going to want to download the file. So for me, I typed in the map online and I downloaded this one, which is Q3W Pack1 PK3. A PK3 can just be extracted and I get a folder like this. Inside, I found my map, which is Q3WCP9.bsp. So we're going to focus on that one. So the first phase of this is just to launch Blender and make sure you have the correct plugin. So the plugin you need is called BSP, Import ID Tech 3 BSP. I found this on GitHub. This is the version, and we're running on Blender 4.5.3, but should work on other versions, I think. Next we go import BSP. We're going to go to that folder. Then we'll go to maps. Then we'll click BSP that we want. And I have had luck just clicking rendering there, but it could work if you do the other one, but I just did that. Okay. So you'll have this. If you turn on materials, you'll see that some of the materials are missing or wrong. And that's because either the map didn't come with the file. So I think most of them got resolved, but some of them are unresolved, like that white block there is unresolved. So there are things that are missing. And in order to account for them missing, we'll have to add in extra materials. But the first thing we can do is we can export this OBJ. So in that folder, we're going to go back to the base folder. We're going to create a folder called export. And we're just going to go here. And then we're going to call this, I'm just going to call it spider crossings because that's the name of the map. And we'll just export it with the default settings. Okay. So one thing that you'll notice is if we open up that MTL file, you'll see that the map KD, which is like the diffuse texture, is missing on a decent number of these. And on the other ones, some of them are like weird, as in like some use like this really big thing here and some just use like the file name. And that's going to be a problem. So fundamentally what's going on is the MTL is all screwed up when you export it. So if that plugin improved, maybe that won't be the case, but I'm just going to show you how to fix that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back. We're going to go to the textures. We're going to copy them. We're going to bring them to the export file. So we got some textures. But that's not enough textures because there was some missing when we did this export. So what I'd recommend is if you go online and you type in Quake 3 textures, you can either get this high-res collection of textures, or there it's pretty easy to find like the Quake 3 textures as well. So you can do that too. So what that looks like is you'd get like Quake 3, and then in base Q3 you'd have all these packs. You can open up pack 0, go to the textures, and just like copy these ones, and then we'll just paste them in here. Also, sometimes they need the models because they contain probably map objects is used sometimes. So you can also copy models, and you can put that into your, if you go back here, you can put models there. So we've just kind of like way overshot in the sense that we've put in a ton of textures. We'll probably overkill number of textures just so that we'll have all the textures we need to for this model. And now with that, we're gonna open a terminal here. So this is probably where we diverge into Linux territory, but all we're gonna do is edit a file. So as long as you have Python and a thing called fuzzy find, you'll be able to run this logic as well. So I'm gonna copy over the script, and I'll provide a link for you to get this script eventually. So there's the script. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna go to that terminal, and we're gonna run py fix mtl textures spidercrossings.mtl. So it's telling me this is the current one being used, and I don't want to skip this, I want to modify it. So I'm going to it's going to bring one up, a search in that directory, and I'm going to select that, the one that matches. And specifically what it's doing is the BSP importer plugin named the material with the directory at which the file exists. And when the script runs, so I want to change this because it has a huge path. I want to use like relative path. So I click, I don't want to skip this, so I press N. And I delete like that vertex because sometimes the postfix is wrong. And I just select the one that matches the most. So we're going to continue in this fashion, selecting the one that has the biggest match, closest match. Yep, I want to replace that one. And notice if it finds the file, it won't bring up that fuzzy search, which is handy. Bounce blue. I'm just going to use the generic bounce pad just for that to simplify it. Bounce neutral, and I'm also going to use bounce base. And you can look at these images to make sure you're doing the right one. But I know that these are fine for what I'm trying to do here. Floor decal blue. Sometimes the naming's wrong. Just going to go with floor logo blue. Floor decal red. I'm going to go floor logo red. Mono logo red. Oh, I messed that up. We can fix it in post. This one was red. Black, blue. That's the closest one. I'll just go with it. Black, red. Tech spawn. I'm just gonna type tech. It was tech blue, right? Just gonna go with that. Tech, red. Wall decal blue. Wall blue. Wall logo red. And let's try wall red. Web floor blue. Web floor 1. I'll just go with that one. Web floor red's fine. Gothic light 2. Gothic light 3. Pentagram light 1. Metal support 4J. Beam. Fan 3 blade. Light B. Light B2. No. Found match, that's good. I'm just gonna go with scan code when I don't know, because what else can I do? That's a metal thing. I'm gonna go with scan code for that since I don't know. I'm gonna go with scan code again. Skybox. That one doesn't have a match, so we're gonna go with scan code. Okay. So if we look at spider crossings MTL now, most of these are fixed up. But wherever I used scan code was probably wrong. And so I just want to maybe pick a metallic object or like some sort of object that's doesn't matter too much. Textures. So here we can just pick a replacement for ones that we knew were not right. So I don't have that skybox. So I'm just going to use like a metal roof for that. Just see what I can find. Gothic cathedral maybe. Skies. Proto. Gothic ceiling. Yeah, that seems good. Let's go with a maybe let me open that up. That could be okay. I might go with a wooden ceiling, kind of like a wooden ceiling. So we're gonna use that wood ceiling 1A. Wood ceiling 1A. So just copy that. And we're gonna go for the skybox. And here we need a metal, like maybe a transparent metal, but I'll just go with a metal if I can find one. Base wall maybe. Can I also sort it by name? Blue metal support.tga. Blue metal support2.tga. And I'm just gonna use the same for this metal too, or maybe I'll just go with blue metal 3b. Blue metal 3b.jpg. Scan code, and then I don't know what this is, this non-solid, but I'll just give it, I don't know, metal black 03, just because I don't know. Just give it something that's not the scan code. You can also launch it and kind of debug that way, but I'm just lazy right now. And I don't care if it's perfect. I'm just doing a replacement. So the reason why like we can't use the correct one, for example, is if we take a look at our textures, we don't actually have, so we have SS CTF3, but you can see it doesn't have SPS non-solid. So we just have to go with something else. So we'll just go with metal black. And the scan code can actually stay for the scan code. So that should mostly fix things up. What we can do next, now that the MTL is like corrected, we're gonna start a new one. That's fine. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna import the OBJ that we just fixed up. So that what I was doing previously was patchwork, as in I was replacing textures that I don't have with replacement ones. For the most part, you shouldn't do that. You should always try and use the correct one. But for me, for my situation, I'm fine with that. I just want everything to be textured. Even if it's slightly wrong, it's not a huge deal to me. So either way, we're going to open up this OBJ again. And this time, there should be far less missing textures. Yeah, so you can see that what was white before is now wooden. And I think most of it is good. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to do a quick scaling. Just see what I have here. Yeah, so now more things will render at once. So things are looking pretty decent. Obviously, like, the lights and stuff don't have transparency going on, which is why things are weird. One thing I'm noticing is this. Does that light actually have a texture? I think it does, it's just hard to see. Well, it'll be more obvious once we load it up in, like, our custom engine. Like, Blender is too laggy for the most part for me to tell if something's really going wrong. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to trust that that's relatively okay. And now what we're going to do, like assuming this is how you want it to be, we're going to do a thin export. So our current export is massive in the sense that we're overshooting a lot. Like our collection here has like a ton of textures and most of them are unused. So we're going to create a folder. We're going to call it thin export. So this export's only going to have the files that are needed. So we're going to go back here. We go file export obj. We're going to go to the same place, but we're going to go in the thin export. And here for path mode, select copy. So it's only going to copy the textures that are used in this. So spider crossings. So now you can see only the textures that are used are here, which makes, if I want to send this to someone, way smaller. And now something that I'm going to experiment with, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to bring this into my custom engine and just verify that things are how I want them to be. Because in the engine, it doesn't have a bunch of different shaders or lighting going on that's going to slow us down, and we can see missing textures way easier. So what I'll do is I'll open up my file browser here, go into Assets, Models. Here's Spider Crossing, so I'm just going to call this, it back, and we're going to create a new one for Spider Crossings. And in here, we're going to just dump the thin export. So we're going to go Control A, Control C, we dump it in. And now we can close the file browser and we can try running this and see what we get. Okay, so here's our map. This honestly seems fine for the most part. Like I don't see, so missing textures would show up in this engine as ink and black, and I'm not seeing any of that. One thing is I'm just moving around a little quickly, so it's harder to notice, but everything looks pretty solid. Like transparency is not enabled by default right now, which is why we're seeing that, which is expected right now. So I'm fine with that. And you know, for the most part, like this is a fine and textured map, and so we're able to, that thin export now is like exactly what we needed. So here we have a minimal working exported OBJ of a Quake 3 map that I just downloaded online. Now, obviously, this contains copyrighted material, so probably not the best to be like, distributing these, but if you're using it for your own personal learning or like very small testing purposes, there should not be an issue with that. And yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to go through the workflow, and I'll attach the script to this video somehow. Oh, and one thing that's wrong is that, that should be blue. And so once you're familiar with working with the with the um, with the MTL files, it's an easy fix. So I think we should use the wall logo, but we just have one of the wall logos wrong. So the way you fix that is you just open up your MTL file. And this is why I like working with human readable files, because it's just so much easier. So wall logo, blue. Wall logo, red. Blue. Just gonna see where we probably just used a red. No, wrong. Red, red. Red, 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 red. Banner. Yeah, so here we used the wrong logo. So I think that should be blue. And I just want to make sure I have floor mono logo. So you're missing floor mono logo blue. And so the reason why it didn't get into the thin export is just because it wasn't used, right? So that's the issue. So let's find floor mono logo blue. We'll copy that. Go back to the thin export. Floor mono logo blue. And then in here, floor mono logo blue, save that. And then all we have to do is rerun this once. and that should be corrected. So red is on the red side, and red is still on the blue side. Let me just have a moment to think about this. What texture is that, first of all? That texture is... that is red, floor monologo red. So we need to make sure that... I guess we... did we save this file? Floor, we're on the blue side, it should use the blue one. Red, blue, red, red, blue, blue, red, red, blue, blue, red, red, blue, blue, red, red, blue. Okay, I feel like that's correct. I'm just gonna, maybe I didn't save it properly. I gotta make sure I'm in the right thin export. Okay, so we're editing the one in the thin export. That was the issue. We need, since we moved it into the, we moved it in here, so we just have to update it in here. We moved it into our project directory, so let's quickly update the one here. Assets, models, spider crossings, and yeah, I don't think we copied the file either, so first things first, let's just open up that MTL file. And we can copy the one from the thin export into this one, I think. Yeah, that should be fine. Paste that in, and then let's bring in floor monologo blue. Copy that. And then paste it here. And then now when we run this, we should be good to go. Just gonna verify. And once again, any blackness is just missing transparency. It's not a huge deal. Something just the engine has to fix. All right, we got our blue there. So yeah, this is looking good. I don't know how it is set up on the other map. Like maybe these should have a blue value, but I'm fine with how it's looking so far. Like I don't have an issue with any of this. And yeah, that concludes importing files like that. Like it's not perfect, but it gives you a base to work on, and I don't know. It's a solution for right now when there isn't anything better, so that's it.